You're watching the KOAO Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, Christmas on the Bricks in Fort Scott kicked off yesterday. Our very own Melissa Alexis gives us a behind-the-scenes look at this year's festivities.
Also, warming centers are beginning to open up as colder temps make their way through. Very own Lonnie Walton shares a few tips to keep in mind if you find yourself needing a place to stay warm.
And it is cold outside this morning. We will be a little warmer later today. We'll talk about that in the forecast to get you out the door coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAO Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner coming up on 7:01 on this finally Friday, December the 6th. Happy Friday, everybody.
Yes.
We have made it. We've had parades all week. There's a lot of parades still to come, but we've had parades. We did the bell ringing challenge
toy box
yesterday.
telethon on Tuesday.
Yeah, we did Toy Box did our first one this year. And
so much.
It's been a busy week, but in a good way. Like, we're doing things that are very beneficial, great for the community. But boy, it's been busy for sure. And one 4-state community really getting into the holiday spirit.
Yes,
here.
Fort Scott was busy yesterday as its second annual Christmas festival, Christmas on the Bricks, kicked off last night.
KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more on this season's festivities.
A festival where you can come and make memories.
The Fort Scott Christmas on the Bricks chair has been working tirelessly to put together their Christmas on the Bricks festival for the community.
We've gone to different retailers and asked if we could have different events in their location so that people can see everything we have. The chamber has done a tremendous amount of time put into it.
The event features candlelight tours of the fort, holiday market booths, Christmas karaoke, and pictures with Santa.
Warm, cozy Christmas feeling, and just with the things we've added like the fire pits and the carriage rides.
Free gift wrapping if you purchase a gift in our downtown. We have beer and bourbon tasting, carriage rides, just literally something for everyone going on downtown.
Something for everyone, including children.
We have a lot of kids activities. We have cookie decorating at our new kitchen collective and collaborative. Hedgehog.Inc., which is a great bookstore downtown, is hosting the Pictures with Santa.
For the first time this year, the event will feature a skating rink at the Gathering Square Pavilion.
And the skating rink is not up just for this weekend. It'll be up for 4 following weekends. So people will be able to come back for that too and see all the decorations and the lights and also be able to skate.
The event kicks off Thursday night with a parade.
It just reminds you of Christmas.
Reporting in Fort Scott, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Well, some of the events require pre-registration, and you can check out our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, for more information and to see a list of all the events.
And of course, just one of many exciting things going on with the holiday season. That's the thing. It may be cold and outside, but there's so many cool things going on that'll kind of warm me up right in here.
Absolutely. So go check out as many as you can. I mean, it's the season.
It is indeed. But even though it will warm your heart, you'll still want to grab a coat because that won't be enough to keep you warm in the cold weather like we're experiencing this morning. Quick look outside from our camera downtown Pittsburgh. Sun is rising and it is cold outside. My car had hesitations about starting this morning, but it did successfully do so. And Elise was telling us this morning that her car also was like, I think we're just going to take the day off. So just keep that in mind too. It's pretty darn cold, but it looks nice. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline in Joplin looking back to the east, getting another view of that sunrise this morning. It's a fantastic start to the day aside from those cold temperatures out there. And take a look. Now by late morning, winds begin to pick up a bit out of the southwest at about 5 to 10. As they do so, it will slowly draw in warmer air, and so we'll see temperatures begin to rise pretty quickly, but they're not going to go too high. Upper 30s, low 40s by noon, and into the afternoon we go. We're going to hang out in the 40s across the region. I think the future track is maybe about 2 hours early on the clouds. We're going to see clouds, but I think it's going to be closer to, say, 6, 7 before they start rolling into the area. We'll see exactly how that pans out. But one way or the other, it's not going to do anything. It's just we're looking at partly cloudy skies late this evening and overnight. And by late this evening and overnight, winds will shift out of the south, and they'll also increase as well, gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour tonight. 21 in Joplin, 20 in Pittsburgh, and a quick look at the temperatures around the region. The good news is winds are light and variable, so we haven't seen significant wind chills, which is great because it is already pretty cold. We've got upper teens and low 20s as we get this Friday underway. We're headed for highs right around the mid 40s. Clear skies out there, and that'll continue until the later evening hours when clouds increase. And we're going to be even warmer as we head into our Saturday as the winds continue to increase across the area. And then, because this is the weird game we're playing with Mother Nature, it's going to get really cold again next week. We'll talk about all that in the full forecast, and that's coming up here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Authorities charge a man in a serious hit and run of a teenager. Detectives have arrested and charged Miguel Gaspar Diaz with a Saturday night hit and run in Carthage that has left a Carthage teen, Braxton Thrasher, in serious condition. Authorities identified the car by parts of the vehicle left behind at the incident and tracked it to the residence of Diaz. Now, Diaz initially said he struck a deer and had not been to Carthage. Authorities say during a subsequent interview, Diaz admitted to drinking at a friend's house prior to the accident. They say he later admitted to hitting Thrasher with his car and driving a few hundred feet before stopping and removing the teen victim from the hood of his car and placing him in the ditch. Thrasher still remains in the ICU, and authorities have issued multiple charges against Diaz, including felony assault. We have more information on this incident on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. And AAA wants to remind drivers about distracted driving laws going into effect next month. Beginning January 1st, Missouri drivers can be cited and fined. Now, the law, known as the Siddons-Benning hands-free law, prohibits handheld cell phone use while driving, with few exceptions. You can head over to KOAMNewsNow.com, where we've provided more information on the new law, including exceptions, fine amounts, and jail and prison time. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, as the temperatures drop, many people, particularly those without homes, are seeking warmth and shelter. Now, according to a report from the Institute for Community Alliances in Joplin, the number of unhoused individuals has risen by 111% compared to last year. KOAM's Lonnie Walton checked in at the Webb City Public Library to see what rules are in place for those seeking shelter.
We do have people that come in here and think they can just move in and move furniture around. And
Sarah Rogers is the assistant director of Webb City Public Library. She says she enjoys helping those in need of warmth this season, but sometimes Rogers says some can get a little too comfortable.
it can get insane in here sometimes. So when there's a lot of people, people can start getting rude. And
Library official says they are fine with patrons coming in to keep warm, but as long as they're respectful and they keep things quiet.
so hopefully it will just blend and everybody will be fine.
With that said, Rogers says everyone is nice for the most part, and intense situations are not really a thing for Webb City residents. That's why she said all are welcome if they're in need.
As long as we're open, they can come in here and spend the day reading or whatever. We've got puzzles out.
A local resident says he comes in just for a peace of mind.
Quiet, read, I watch YouTube, I watch ghost stories and stuff like that.
Some come in just to take a quick nap, but if they take too long, Rogers says they're getting a wake-up call.
After a while, yeah, we'll let them sleep for a bit, but after a while, yeah.
Reporting in Webb City, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Roger also says residents are allowed to eat and drink in the facility as long as they are mindful of the equipment and upkeep of the building. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, NASA's moon missions are forced to go on hold after experiencing several setbacks. And later, a former minister spreads the story of Christmas in a unique way. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Topping Nation Watch this morning, a child safety group is reminding the public to not leave children unattended in vehicles after nearly a dozen vehicle thefts with kids left inside over the Thanksgiving holiday. Such incidents happened 11 times over the Thanksgiving holiday, impacting a total of 17 children under the age of 14. Now, most of the time, these incidents occurred at convenience stores, residential driveways, and other areas where thieves know people feel safe leaving their car briefly unattended. A 7.0 magnitude earthquake rumbled off Northern California's coast near the Oregon border yesterday. This general store in Whitethorn, about 72 miles to the southeast, felt a slow buildup, turning into enough force to tumble shelf stores' products to the ground and swaying a large trailer unit outside. Now, a brief tsunami warning was also triggered. The quake, which was felt in San Francisco, was the most powerful since a magnitude 7.1 struck Ridgecrest in 2019. Efforts to get to space are going on the back burner for now, as Fox News correspondent Chanley Painter takes a closer look at why NASA is pushing back upcoming missions to the moon.
Houston, we have a problem. Astronauts hoping to reach for the stars are facing roadblocks on their next trips to the final frontier. This as NASA reveals its plans to push back upcoming missions around and to the surface of the moon. The announcement coming in the wake of investigations into a crucial component of the Artemis 1 craft. While there were no astronauts inside as it circled the moon in 2022, officials say the Orion crew capsule's heat shield suffered cracks and erosion upon its re-entry into the atmosphere.
We were able to recreate the problem here on Earth, and now we know the root cause.
NASA plans to keep the design of the heat shield the same for Artemis 2, but officials cite necessary changes in the path it would take during its return to Earth.
We and our industry and international partners need this time to make sure that the Orion capsule is ready.
The Artemis 2 mission was set for fall of 2025 and would have sent 4 astronauts around the moon and back. The new target date is now projected for April of 2026.
After learning from the Artemis 2 crewed test flight, we plan to launch Artemis 3.
Meanwhile, the Artemis 3 project now hopes to see 2 astronauts land on the moon by at least 2027. The last footprints left on the moon were from the crew of Apollo 17 and date back to 1972. I'm Chanley Painter, Fox News.
And those are our top national stories. Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we are cold this morning. Skies are clear, however, as we take a look at the MoDOT camera. 32nd in range line looking back to the south. I bet every last one of these folks driving probably has their heat on this morning. It will be a little warmer later today. We'll have a complete look at your forecast here in about 2 minutes on the KOAM Morning News. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:17 on this finally Friday here in the 4 states. We're going to start the future track. Later this morning, winds are going to switch out of the southwest on us. It won't be gusting. They'll be about 5-10 miles an hour. So they'll slowly start bringing in some warmer air. So temperatures will begin to climb. We're going to be upper 30s, low 40s out there. And then later today, clouds will start to move in. As I mentioned earlier, I think the future track may be a couple hours early on the clouds. We'll see exactly how it plays out, but we're not looking at any rain, unfortunately, with these clouds, just some clouds. We'll go partly cloudy later this evening into the overnight hours, and winds will also shift late this evening and overnight out of the south, and they'll start gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour, which will start bringing in even more warm air as we head into our Saturday. By Saturday sunrise, winds shift back out of the southwest, and they'll be gusting upwards of 25, maybe even 30 miles an hour in cases. And take a look at noon tomorrow. Already into the low 50s. We'll go mid-upper 50s for most of us on our Saturday. Saturday night into Sunday, clouds will increase again. Winds will still be out of the south and southwest across the area. Sunday morning, take a look at this, into the low 40s to start the day. And then between, say, 10 a.m. and 5 p.m., we could have an isolated shower or two. Now, at this point, as you saw in Future Track, it's not looking too impressive. Anything we see will be very isolated, maybe even really brief. So unfortunately, even though we need some more rain around the area, we're not looking at anything significant this weekend, but at least there's something, and we will remain warm. In fact, we'll remain warm even into our Monday before things change once again. Our camera 7th and range line, great view of that sunrise. It is 21 in Joplin. Winds are calm, and they will remain that way through about 10 o'clock this morning. Temperatures out there, we still have some upper teens and low 20s. So a very cold start to the day. In fact, colder than where we were yesterday, and yesterday was cold enough as it was. But again, we will start warming up later today. So initially, not a rapid warm up, but then once we get that southwest wind kicking in, it doesn't just take off, but it still will warm up a little quicker. Low 20s to start, upper 30s by 11 o'clock this morning. Mid 40s for our highs out there. Sunny skies, southwest winds again, 5 to 10 miles an hour. And as we head into the evening, clouds will start to increase a bit. Temperatures falling slowly initially, then eventually into the low 30s, maybe some upper 20s with those south winds gusting upwards of 20. Now, we've been on this ride. Next week will be 5 straight weeks of roller coaster temperatures. And I say that because any other time of the year, we usually settle into a pattern for several weeks on end sometimes, where in the summer it's 90 degrees for 3 weeks. Yeah, it stinks, but it's consistent. Same in the winter. We'll settle into where we're in the 30s for 3 straight weeks. We're not settling into anything. So now we warm up. Upper 50s through Monday. Then by Monday, here comes again another cold front. It's another roughly 30-degree drop in temperatures. So then we're going to be chilly Tuesday. Now, Tuesday, we have some morning showers. Depending on what we see and when we see it, there could be light wintry precipitation. But I want to tell you right now, at this point, this is not looking impressive. It's not looking significant, but there could be some slick spots Tuesday morning. We're still cold, a little warmer Thursday, and as we head into next weekend, we're going right back up again. Upper 50s, low 60s, maybe some showers next weekend as well. That's checking your forecast. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, a former minister in Kansas has been spreading the story of Christmas in a unique way.
For 2 decades, she has used her collection of nativities from around the world. Olivia Acree has the story.
That one is precious.
Reverend Margie Colrick is a former minister.
One that has a sickness has too many nativities.
She has a collection of more than 500 nativities from all around the world.
India, Mexico, Guatemala, Ireland, Germany, and so on.
She's been sharing the collection around Kansas City for 20 years. Her love for nativities started with her mom in 1960.
And she made a whole nativity completely from scratch. Then she made a couple of more because people wanted them.
This one nativity set started it all.
1 year, 20 years ago, I thought, you know, I have an awful lot of nativities. I bet I could make a nice display.
Nativities represent the story of Christmas.
There's a lot of other ways to celebrate Christmas these days, but I think it's always nice to remember where it started.
She fell in love with the way people shared the story through art, but more so that each set is perfectly imperfect.
Here are these nativities, and if you look around, you probably won't see any that are broken, and yet a lot of them are. And it's kind of like that with us. None of us are perfect.
Yet they all tell the same message.
And they took a little cardboard matchbox and a couple of wooden matches and made her a nativity. The only thing is, this one tells a story of love.
This year, she's sharing that love and selling a third of her collection.
We are downsizing because it's just getting to be really hard to set up this many.
To anyone who buys one,
they all have stories.
She hopes they find the beauty in it like she has for so many years.
I consider it a gift to the community.
Well, the nativity sale is happening now at the Merriam Christian Church in Merriam, Kansas.
And the nativities are priced anywhere from $1 to $30.
Certainly an absolutely incredible collection. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. The question is, you know, in the off-season, where's she been keeping all of them?
I know, right?
A lot. How do you move them
or
all?
not break them or anything like that. Keep them intact.
It's amazing. Amazing.
It certainly is. Well, coming up after nearly a 2-year absence, the Joplin trolley service is preparing to get back on the road. We'll have those details.
And it's pretty darn cold to start the day. We'll be a little warmer by this afternoon, and we'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:28. I'm Elise Snowy. Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield is reversing a recent policy. In an announcement yesterday, Anthem said the health insurance provider is reversing a policy that would have limited anesthesia coverage during surgeries and other procedures. The policy would have covered Anthem's plans in Missouri, Connecticut, and New York beginning in February. The proposal prompted an outcry from some physicians and lawmakers. Well, Missouri Southern yesterday invited the community to celebrate the holidays with its students and staff. The university hosted its annual Holiday Happenings event. The event featured a market craft fair, ice skating rink, a petting zoo, and much more.
For not only staff, students, faculty here at the university, but also for the community, because it's free for everybody to come from the community and open, and there's things for kids to do, things for adults to do. So it's just a really great opportunity to kind of get into the holiday spirit.
Holiday Happenings will continue through the evening with a tree lighting and special visit from Santa Claus. Well, Big Spring Park in Neosho was illuminated last night in a special ceremony. About 200 attendees, and they were at the event in Big Spring Park. Neo Radio organized the event in part with the city of Neosho and Neosho Parks and Rec. Now, afterwards, it was the perfect time for families and friends to gather to take photos. Neosho has their Christmas parade scheduled for this Saturday at 5 p.m. There's also a list to all the remaining Christmas parades on our website. That's KLMNewsNow.com. Now let's check in with Chris for a quick look at the forecast.
Now we're going to start with a look outside from our camera. Downtown Pittsburgh, the sun rising, the skies are clear, the temperatures are crisp to say the least. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline looking back to the east, also looking pretty fantastic so far this morning. And as we head later into the morning, again, winds will increase a bit out of the southwest, not significantly. They'll be about 5-10 miles an hour, and that'll help usher in some slightly warmer temperatures today. We'll be upper 30s, low 40s by noon. Later this evening into the overnight, clouds increase a bit. We'll go partly cloudy later today, and overnight, well, late the night and into the overnight, winds will shift out of the south, and they'll start gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour, and then they'll shift back out of the southwest for our Saturday and continue gusting as we have a much warmer day tomorrow. Sitting at 21 in Joplin, 20 in Pittsburgh, and across the area, temperatures not moving too much yet. We have a light and variable wind, which is good because it's cold enough as it is. Upper teens and low 20s out there as we get our Friday started. We're looking at highs today, eventually reaching the mid 40s. Remember, we have a very large area. Some of you will be low 40s, some of you may be upper 40s, but on average, right about the mid 40s. Clear skies, clouds increasing late this evening, and then we'll start to really warm up as we head into the weekend. Then by Monday, we have another roughly 30-degree drop in temperatures. Take a look at your full forecast and some rain chances here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, shuttered city service in Joplin is coming back more than 2 years later. KOAM's Samantha Walker has more on how the city's trolley service is preparing to take to the streets once again.
It is coming. It is coming back, and it is coming really, really soon.
At a city council meeting, the city of Joplin announced it's bringing back the Sunshine Lamp trolley system, something that was shut down more than 2 years ago.
We had to pull the trolley system back and idle it for lack of drivers and dispatchers. We were having problems keeping drivers and dispatchers, so we had to rethink the program a little bit.
The volunteer organization One Joplin says they noticed how the closure hit many community members hard.
Our poverty team really focuses on low-income individuals, specifically the working poor. And transportation is a barrier to employment, to health care, to basic needs. And we saw a lot of our community members were resorting to car loans and things like that were really not affordable to them.
City staff say they have been working hard to bring the trolleys back ever since they were forced to shut down the service. Through the work of recruiting efforts and changes to the pay plans for drivers, city staff say their staffing is to more sustainable levels.
Drivers need days off, they have vacations, they have sick days, they have personal time. We just didn't have enough drivers to sustain the program, but now we're comfortable that we're back up. We have 14, 15 drivers in place now. We still have a couple that are in training in the queue, so we'll be fully staffed as we approach February.
Community members say the return of the trolley service will be a big help to families in Joplin, especially those that need to work.
They were really committed to making it come back even stronger, and we just respect their efforts with that and greatly appreciate it. We're so grateful for the community to get that back up and running. We know it's an economic driver. You know, it was preventing people from working. It was preventing people from shopping. It was preventing them from accessing healthy foods, because if it's easier to get to a Dollar General and buy shelf-stable food versus getting somewhere like a farmer's market or somewhere with fresh produce, we know that was a limit.
The current hope is to have the trolley service back up and running by February. Reporting in Joplin, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
City staff say they are still finalizing the details for the fair and schedule for the trolleys when they begin operating again. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Shannon Becker joins us with his big 3 stories of the week. Welcome back. We've got Shannon Becker in the studio with his big 3 news stories of the week. Good morning and happy Friday to you, Shannon.
Well, good morning and welcome to the Christmas season with all the toys here in the studio.
Look at all of
this.
this.
I love it. Let's take a look at the big 3 stories. What's happening where you live this week, live and local. It was Saturday morning at Rain Miller and East 32nd Street, a location where there's had some major crashes before, even deaths.
Yes.
This is a serious crash here. You can see that vehicle almost just sliced down the whole side. Firefighters had to spend about 20 minutes extricating people out of that vehicle. This vehicle, speed was a factor as they zoomed around the corner there. In fact, that car was going so fast as the car turned that was struck.
Right.
It wasn't even around the corner. You couldn't even see it yet. They were driving that excessive
fast.
speed.
Unbelievable.
Of course, that person was ticketed and also rushed to an area hospital. One of the people in that car was then flown to Springfield, still in critical condition. Our number 2 story, KOAM News Now. A suspect vehicle picture was released on Monday. That car right there, that's an exemplary picture.
Sure.
Now it's been identified in a hit and run where a Carthage teen who was on a little moped was struck. He's in critical condition in Springfield in an ICU, and they're raising money for his family. Yesterday, they charged and arrested a man from Joplin. In that crash, he said initially he hit a deer, but then he admitted, well, I hit the kid on the moped. He was on top of his car for about 100 feet before he stopped, took the kid off the front of the car, and then put him in the ditch and drove off. I mean, that's bizarre to me, but he did admit to drinking.
And then just real quick, too, I saw that Domino's in Carthage is going to be having a fundraiser on December 11th for the young boy who was
the young man.
injured. Yes.
He actually works there, so they're doing a fundraiser. We'll talk more about that. You can find it on our website.
Absolutely.
And then our number 1 story, something that's been going on since 2007, November, tragedy when a little girl, Rowan, was killed.
Yes.
She's a little girl from Triway Elementary in Stark City. If anyone's from here, it seems like almost fresh memory.
Right.
Now it's taken so long for the killer, who admitted to killing her and throwing her body in this shallow cave here in McDonald County, the execution that he said he even deserved. He even said he deserved it. That was on Tuesday. Mike Parson did not grant him clemency there at the last moment. Our bonus story, a little more lighthearted, thank goodness. Christmas, you just mentioned it a while ago.
Yes.
In the Osho last night. It was really fun. They kind of do a little old school. It's kind of like lights that you'd see from the past.
Yes.
They even have, they have some stuff that you've seen just for years and years, like Ready Kilowatt. I don't know. You don't know who that is, but it's the old little guy from Empire District Electric Company. I caught a lot of the different families taking pictures. That's a new feature right there. The Abominable Snowman from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. They're, of course, on every evening. I believe they keep them up through the end of the year, December 31st. And you can also check out on our website, we'll have today, we release a list of our Christmas light list. We'll do that today. Yep.
Looking forward to it. Well, thanks so much for being with us this morning, Shannon. Happy Friday to you. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now officially 7:42 on this finally Friday, and it is a cold start to the day, but it will eventually warm up for us out there. By noon, already to the upper 30s and low 40s, as later this morning we'll have a southwest wind out there about 5-10 miles an hour, and that'll help bring in some warmer air. As I mentioned earlier, I think future track may be a couple hours early on the clouds, but it won't really matter when they get here because they're not bringing any rain, unfortunately. But later this evening, we will go partly cloudy. And then late this evening, say after 8, winds will shift out of the south and they'll start gusting upwards of 20. So it's going to feel a little colder tonight. And then by sunrise tomorrow, they'll shift back out of the southwest and they'll be gusting upwards of 25, maybe even to 30 miles an hour. That will bring in even warmer air. So by noon tomorrow, we're already into the low 50s across the area. Saturday is going to be sunny. It's going to be breezy. Then we go into Saturday night into Sunday. Clouds will increase. Temperatures, thanks to the clouds, will stay somewhat milder. In fact, what we're getting close to for highs today is how we're going to start Sunday. Now, on Sunday, we're going to get mostly cloudy skies. And between roughly 10 a.m. and 5 p.m., there will be an opportunity for a stray isolated shower or two. So unfortunately, we're not talking any kind of significant rainfall. I know we need some. Not looking at that for Sunday. Then, believe it or not, skies will actually clear late Sunday into Sunday night, and then the clouds will thicken back up again as we head into Monday. All right now, 21 in Joplin. That's how it feels, though, because the winds are calm, which is good, and they will remain that way at least for a couple more hours this morning before the southwest winds kick in. Right now, though, the temperature's not really moving much yet. Again, once we get that southwest breeze, temperatures will start to warm. We're sitting into the upper teens and low 20s, and that's where we've spent most of this morning. Be about the low 20s to start. Clear skies, upper 30s though by 11. See, we get that bigger temperature rise here because around 10 or so is when those southwest winds kick in. Into the afternoon, sunny skies. Winds southwest 5 to 10 and temperatures slowly clinking into the mid 40s for most of us out there. Tonight, as I mentioned, partly cloudy, breezy. Temperatures falling through the 30s, mid 30s by 10, low 30s tonight, maybe even some upper 20s. So it's going to feel a bit chilly, especially with those winds gusting out there. But it will warm up, much warmer tomorrow, upper 50s, sunny on Saturday, mid to upper 50s through at least Monday. And then it starts all over again because we can't find the happy medium for these temperatures. We got about a 30-degree drop from Monday's highs to Monday's lows. We go into Tuesday morning. Now, Tuesday morning, something just to keep an eye on. We do have some shower chances in the morning. It will start very cold. Depending on how early the shower chances get here, we could be looking at some brief, light, wintry precipitation. At this time, we're not looking at anything significant, even in terms of rainfall. We're not really looking at much, but could lead to some slick spots Tuesday morning, depending on how early it starts. So just keep that in mind. We stay cold Tuesday night into Wednesday, a little warmer on Thursday, back up to about 50. And then take a look at next weekend. Now we're back up to the upper 50s, even some low 60s possible out there with a few shower chances next Saturday and Sunday. That's Check Your Forecast. We're going to throw it over to Elise now with Consumer Watch.
All right, thanks, Chris. Millions of consumers hit by a massive credit repair scheme will soon find a recovery check in the mail. More than 4 million American consumers impacted by the credit repair scheme will share about $1.8 billion in refund checks. The funds come from settlements with several credit repair. The Bureau says consumers were illegally charged advance fees or allegedly became embroiled in bait and switch advertising. The car data company says American drivers are risking their auto's health by not doing some simple maintenance issues. Now, Carfax says millions of Americans are neglecting necessary ongoing car care and they may be prematurely wearing out their vehicles. The average age of a car on the road is now 12.5 years, up from 9.5 to 10 years before the pandemic. Well, a new survey shows the gift that most people want is money. In a new LendingTree survey, 49% of responders said their gift-giving wish is to receive cash at some point this holiday season. Now, the data shows this cash present idea is significantly higher among people with children younger than 18, Gen Zers, and millennials. Participants say they would use this money for savings. Others would buy someone else something nice, and some would use the money to pay down debt, and others said they would invest it. And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Well, the holiday season is sparking joy as millions take part in the annual tradition of setting up a Christmas tree.
But the spectacle carries a lot of significance. Dr. Troy Bickham, a history professor at Texas A&M University, breaks down the origins of this wintertime staple. Chanley Painter has the story.
It's that time of year again as millions of people deck the halls and set up their Christmas trees. But as the ornaments and tinsels start to flow, have you ever wondered about the origins of the holiday's iconic household centerpiece? For starters, historians say evergreens are highly symbolic.
They represent life throughout the winter and the hope that life is going to return.
Many early civilizations even used evergreen trees for various celebrations.
We know the Egyptians did it. We know that the Romans did it with their celebration of Saturnalia, which fell in December. The ancient Germans did it with the Christmas tree. They actually hung them upside down in their roofs.
It wasn't until the 19th century, though, when the Christmas tree tradition gained widespread cultural significance. It got a helping hand from the late Queen Victoria of England.
Victoria married a German prince. And to celebrate and make her husband feel a little bit more at home one Christmas, they put out a public Christmas tree and invited the press to come and see them decorating it. Literally overnight, everyone in England who found out about this wanted to put up their own Christmas tree.
This also helped the tradition take off in America. The onset of the Great Depression even helped encourage public Christmas tree displays.
The Christmas tree that sits in front of the White House or Rockefeller Plaza in New York. And that was seen as like the community's Christmas tree for the fact that most people, or a lot of people, couldn't afford to have their own.
Historians say these trees are now such a popular display, you can even find them in regions that don't primarily celebrate Christmas, serving as a symbol of light. I'm Chanley Painter, Fox News.
Interesting.
Yes.
I would have thought the Christmas tree had been around a lot longer.
Right. Yeah, me as well. I mean, who's to think like what they did before that? I mean, and what traditions have been lost?
I guess they decorated the bush.
There you go.
The stump. I don't know. Well, either way, if you are decorating, today might be a slightly better day to get some of those outdoor decorations up. Tomorrow will be even better for us. Let's take a look at the future track. We'll go down the road one more time here. So into the late morning, winds will shift out of the southwest for us, and we're going to start going upper 30s and low 40s. I don't know if you folks at home heard that sound. I assure you, I don't know what that was. But we'll have clouds increasing late this evening. Winds will shift out of the south and they'll start gusting upwards of 20. By tomorrow morning, they switch back out of the southwest. We're going to have a bit of a chilly start tomorrow, but we're going to be considerably warmer. Southwest winds now gusting out there, upwards of 25, 30, putting our temperatures in the low 50s by noon on Saturday. Quick look at temperatures. 21 in Joplin. Skies are clear. Winds are calm for the time being, and around the area, not a lot of temperature movement yet, still upper teens and low 20s, but as that southwest wind kicks in the next couple hours, it'll start to get us some slightly warmer air. Low 20s to start, sunny skies, upper 30s by 11 o'clock this morning. Well, from there, look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
And here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Authorities charge Miguel Gaspar Diaz in a serious hit and run of Braxton Thrasher in Carthage. Authorities identified the car by parts of the vehicle left behind at the incident and tracked it to the residence of Diaz. Thrasher still remains in the ICU, and authorities have issued multiple charges against Diaz, including felony assault. AAA wants to remind drivers about the distracted driving law going into effect on January 1st. The law, known as the Siddons-Benning hands-free law, prohibits hands-held cell phone use while driving with few exceptions. Missouri drivers can be cited and fined and even face jail time. And as the temperatures drop, many people, particularly those without homes, are seeking warmth and shelter. According to a report from the Institute for Community Alliances in Joplin, the number of unhoused individuals has more than doubled compared to last year. The library provides vending and water fountains in the building for those who need them. They just ask people to continue to follow all the rules given by the staff.
And we'll be a little warmer today. We're looking at mid-40s out there, sunny skies, and a southwest breeze around 5 to 10. Later this evening, clouds will begin to increase. Winds increase out of the south, gusting to 20. We'll fall back into the low 30s and upper 20s with partly cloudy skies tonight. Over the next 10 days, much warmer tomorrow. Still breezy southwest winds gusting upwards of about 25 to 30. Maybe a few stray showers Sunday. 30-degree drop Monday into Monday night. Maybe a few morning showers on Tuesday, but nothing significant, so don't worry about it at this point. And we'll start warming up again, though, by the end of next week, back into the upper 50s And low 60s with a few scattered shower chances by next weekend.
Alrighty. Well, Disneyland Paris launched a new limited-time nighttime show, Disney Notre Dame de Paris, last night. The show marks the reopening of the Notre Dame Cathedral.
The show features drones, fireworks, and projections inspired by Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame. The show runs until December the 14th.
Very fun.
Very fun. And of course, I remember when the cathedral caught fire.
Yes.
And how big of a deal that was. And it's been a long time coming to get it restored, but they've got to do it the right way. So
Yes, they do.
It's going to take time. Well, thank you all so much for letting us put the good into your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.